Hey, I'm Vernon Felton. I'm a senior editor at Bike Magazine. We're in St. Johnsbury, Vermont, close to the Kingdom Trails. We've been riding the Marin Attack Trail 9. The Attack Trail is, again, kind of like an all-mountain enduro bike from Marin. They have 4 models. This one sells for $6,600. They also have an entry-level bike that sells for just a little, around $3,000, and the prices go up from there. The real question, of course, is what did you guys think of this thing?
I was pretty impressed with the linkage, with just the mousetrap that they put in this frame.
Why?
So Marin has had, so this is called the Quad Link 3, is it?
Yeah, the different iterations.
Yeah.
Let's go through the quad link.
Yeah, let's not.
Oh, okay.
let's just focus on the fact that this one is well done, in my opinion. It's essentially a kind of floating pivot, sort of their version of a
Dual short link,
There you go. Thank you.
solid rear triangle.
Yeah.
So VPP-ish?
No, don't say that word.
Ish. I got ish. No one can see me.
CVA, Dave Weekle, whatever. A couple little links.
Yeah.
Shock.
Theirs is different enough that they're allowed to do it, and it's basically not a whole lot of pedal feedback. You know, it's still active on the climbs. For a 150 millimeter travel bike, I thought it pedaled pretty confidently.
I agree. And on the downhills, it was incredibly fun to ride. Really maneuverable, went where you wanted, it was predictable, felt balanced. Partly, I think, I'm curious what you guys think about the Boosh
Yes.
suspension.
Yeah. So which is different, right? Not a lot
Yeah,
of
that's a
companies
new.
in the States.
Yeah, and it's got a lot of kind of hype around it right now. It seems like there's few people speccing it, but it's pretty rare still. And I mean, I felt like the shock was really responsive. I liked
So
way
the
that it felt.
Kirk rear shock.
Kirk, yeah. Yeah.
What'd you think about the DeVille 4?
I thought it was good. It's very adjustable. Has high and low speed compression plus rebound. You know.
Yep.
And it's air sprung. It's controllable, and I think that it's good in the right settings. It took me a little while to kind of fine tune it because it does have that much adjustment.
Right.
Once I got it feeling right, it did feel really good. Ate up the bumps nicely. It does make a little bit of noise though, but you know that's a good, you know.
What kind
you
of
can
noise?
probably forget about that. It just feels like you can't actually. I couldn't feel it. I could just hear it as a knocking.
Reminiscent of older Marzocchi damper rod rattle.
Yeah.
Would be.
And
what
this
I
is an
call
open
it.
bath fork similar to a Marzocchi.
Right.
So.
Which, you know, and they tout the open bath in the same way that Marzocchi said, look, this is a more reliable system where you're going to have to do less, you know, maintenance on it. You know,
Yeah.
Bose takes the same kind of position with that. Well, isn't it cool? I think, you know, we're talking about the suspension design being updated and working well, but I think it's also cool that Marin, of all companies, is going out on a limb and picking a high-end fork manufacturer that a lot of people don't see. It's a very, and I don't mean this as a slight against Marin, but Marin kind of has played things kind of safe and conservative over the years. This is kind of a riskier move.
I feel like this is Marin is kind of coming out of a pretty long, dark walk in the woods, and I did not have really high expectations of this bike, but
Because you'd ridden past versions of Quad Link, right?
and I had more time on this than almost anyone because the first couple of days we were here when we were scouting out routes, that was the bike that just happened to be there. We built up. I was like, I'll ride this, and we're riding it on the cross country loops.
This should have been way too much bike for that, theoretically.
And it was, but it was very dignified and it worked really well and it pedaled nicely and it climbed okay and it was fun to ride. And I was a little bit, this is admitting a bias, but I was blown away by that. I was happily surprised. Pretty capable all-rounder. And the suspension works really well, component-wise and design-wise.
Like I found it so easy to manual, which I found super fun. But like not too short in the rear end that you just kind of loop out, or you're sacrificing the climbing agility of the bike. You know, it's something like right at 17 inches or something.
Yeah,
It's good balance.
The chainstay, and had a really good time riding this bike.
And then this is another one of those bikes that you need to take a close look at the sizing on. I mentioned when we were talking about the Rocky that I sit sort of somewhere between the large and the extra large.
This fell short for you?
It is a little short for me.
Yeah, and like the Rocky, I think it's sub 24 inches in the top tube for a large, which, given that some of the larges that we're testing are closer to 25 inches now, yeah, you got to pay attention to that.
You know what else I felt was that it's $6,600.
Then there's that.
Then
there's that.
Yeah, we talked about the suspension and that it's unique and it's what it has to offer is valuable. Like nothing changes that. When you look at the value of it, you really have to want what those shocks offer.
Yeah.
To go for this bike, in my opinion, over something like the Evil or
This
many
bike with
options in
this
the Bronze.
build.
Yeah, correct.
That
Good
is
point.
where it's coming from, is the Bose suspension is what is your draw on this. Because as a competitive advantage otherwise, it's got some real tough competition. But it was very poised and very composed. I really was surprised by this bike.
So there you have it. If you want to know more about this particular bike, you can always go to our Bible bike test issue. And if you're thinking, why the hell didn't they do the Evil Insurgent or some other really cool bike? Well, we did. Or maybe we didn't. Why don't you go to bikemag.com and see?